We're visiting with Jason Thompson today and Lydia Manson. The the wonder. I wish we could tell more of the things that you did without giving a bunch of spoilers.
Yeah, everything I do is a spoiler.
Everything everybody did was a spoiler.
Right.
I love spoilers. I always read the Wikipedia pages for movies before I watch them.
Nice. I am actually a huge fan of the supplemental media that comes with any Blu-ray or DVD you buy. Like the director's cut always has that track where there's commentary or behind the scenes. I'll watch that before I watch the movie almost every time.
I think it gives some good insights.
I always try to goof around on set and be like, blooper reel, but I realized on indie films, they don't like that very much.
I love them.
Dude, I always have invasive thoughts about jumping into scenes. Like I constantly want to photo crash all the time. That's why every once in a while you'll see if I'm on set doing something with the camera and you're over in Video Village, you'll see me pop up and look at the camera and wave. I'm always trying to get that footage.
The photo bomb. Well, Jason, you had multiple roles when we were shooting the Vord, so you want to elaborate?
God. Okay, so I just hit a button. Sorry.
Could you try again?
Sorry. I like hit a button. I got freaked out. Performance anxiety, it's a problem. So Rich, what I usually do in film production is I'm the production designer, which means I kind of build the environment that the director and the actors utilize. And but what I signed on for your film, The Vord, was just first assistant camera. And the thing is, like, I know that was my primary focus, and that was what I was paid to do and there to be. I also come from a theatrical background, mostly in haunt attractions. And in theater, and especially in haunt theater, you have to, spooky stuff. You have to be cross-disciplined in a lot of departments. And my main focus back then, even then, was production design. I was an art director at the age of 16 at my community haunt. And I just kind of stayed theatrical for all of that. And that was always my focus. But my end goal was always I wanted to be a cinematographer. And the only way I could do that is to get into the camera department and start doing camera work. I felt production design, as a production designer, I get to get real close up to the director. As you saw, there's plenty of times like I was able to casually talk to you in a professional environment in the same sort of way that most people would kind of back off and be like, oh my God, don't talk to the director. And so I kind of I moved forward as a production designer, knowing I can get to a director and I could step sideways into the directorial role as being a director of photography or the cinematographer for a project. And so I came on to your project as a first AC. And even though I do have a wide skill set and a deep wellspring of experience that goes back about 30 years or so, I saw that what you were doing was so special and so cool that I felt I had to allow myself to step out of the role of only being the first AC. So anytime I saw an opportunity to help you guys out with so much as like throwing blood, helping drown someone, whatever, like I was there.
But nobody drowned.
No,
My
no,
gosh, there was no blood.
It's only illusions. It's only illusions to drownings. It's
anybody that goes into water is crazy. I wouldn't trust them.
I agree. Well, Jason, you shouldn't say just, because I relied heavily on you.
Thank you. I really do appreciate it. And I think it's because, I mean, you hired us because you trust us.
Absolutely.
And we talked about this on set. It's like, if you don't trust us, you shouldn't have us here. That's a huge part of making a film, especially a film as intimate as this. So it was cool. We could also talk to side, and we both talked from areas of experience because we had previous film experience. We both knew we're just professionals in an independent environment. So I really do appreciate that, because I suffer from anxiety big time, especially with interacting with people, both publicly, really publicly, like on podcasts, but also kind of privately on film sets. And so, oh my God, I lost my train of thought. It's terrible.
We were talking about being able to collaborate, because I depended on you heavily. I mean, there was particularly, without saying details, there was one scene outside of the church that I tried every which way to make that work. And it was like very Keystone Cop. And
dude, it was so difficult.
It was really difficult. But I remember looking at you going, well, that's just not right.
But the great thing was that, like I said, you hired us because you trusted us, and you also exercised that trust by giving us the freedom and opportunity to stand up and say, hey, let's talk about this. Let's try to figure this out. I don't think it's working, because we were there to make sure everything looked good.
Absolutely.
Making sure everything functioned was all on you guys. We just were there to make things look good.
Well, that's the thing. It can't be about one person. The minute that person, whoever that person is, thinks it's about them, disaster is sure to follow. And you can't do that. The minute you ask people to join something like what we created together, and I do mean we, all of us, if you stand in the way of the very thing you entrusted them with, then I don't even know what you're doing.
Right.
You might as well like go for a walk and, you know.
Don't hire a director of photography if you're not going to listen to them. Absolutely. I can't. I've seen that happen before, and it's just like, it's terrible. Film is an exquisite masterpiece of teamwork. It's all about everyone bringing everything they can. And I mean, it's one thing for genre films, you know, like horror, action or whatnot, where you're not really, sometimes you're delving into human nature, other times you're not. But on a production like this one, where there was a lot of emotional undercurrent, not gonna lie, it just kind of seems like whoever wrote this was kind of working on some stuff, which I get, because every time I write something, I'm always working on something.
Well, there are elements that I drew in from my own background of Christianity and then Nordic culture, but I realized that I could use those things to express things that I had to deal with in my life that were about my near death, loss in my life, and trying to figure out what's justifiable and what's not. Is there redemption? Is there forgiveness? You know, the things that people do to one another, and justifying it, you know, is wrong ever right?
Right.
Kind of thing. And everybody comes at that from a different place. So, and I like that. And I think, Lydia, that was one of the things about your role, was that I think that you had a very sympathetic kind of role in some ways, but in other ways, I think people may look at you as some monstrous, didn't care about your daughter, who was Maria, played by Fosse Sappos and Linda Flores. But I think you had a lot of different emotions that you went through, and you, in your role, were wife to Jason, who was father also, right? Jason was kind enough.
Is that why you paired us up now?
I actually kind of, the minute I started thinking about it originally, I kind of saw it. But what do you think about
Because Jason was the guy I talked to the most on set?
No, sometimes there's just a thing.
Me.
No, I even though you didn't get to do a lot with each other, you had to refer to one another a lot, and it had to feel genuine. I know Fosse appreciated it, because she raves about both of you. But she's a good kid.
Okay.
Yeah, she you'll hear what she had to say about you.
I definitely can answer that. Yeah, that was nice. Yeah, I mean, it really helped that, like, Lydia and I kind of clicked right away. We had the same sicko sense of humor, so that helped. Like,
not our Lydia,
big background into like weird shit. We just talked about weird shit between takes, so you know, we kind of like could relate, and that makes it easy. It's weird. I feel like, I don't know, man. I try not to go in front of the camera, but I do when I have an opportunity for it. I always appreciate it. But I always feel like I'm cheating someone, or I'm ripping someone off, because I don't feel like I'm acting. I just feel like I'm being myself in front of the camera.
Well, one of the things that Fosse pointed out about both of you was that you made her feel completely at ease. And she didn't get to read a lot with you, Lydia, and she did like 5 seconds with you, Jason, but she said she was a little worried about it. You'll hear what she says. I mean, you know, as time went on, and she was just standing there with you, she realized how easy it was. You made it easy for her, and she's a good kid. So
she did a great job.
Oh my God, I cannot rave enough about her. Watching her perform is like, and I told her this when she wrapped on set. I was like, you have the potential to do some amazing things. You're super talented. You got a good head on your shoulders. Do whatever you can. I told her, like, the best advice I can give you is that make sure you have someone in your inner circle that can tell you no. or don't do that, or that's a
You'll
stupid
hear,
idea.
you'll hear our discussion.
You didn't say that to me.
No, well, I mean, it's too late. It's too late
You're all
for you.
grown it up. I said the identical thing to her. I said, always be careful who you say yes to. Because I know there was, you know, some interest in her with someone that we all know. And I, you know, you always have to use your own experience as a reference, but you also have to know when to step away and not.
It's really good to be able to look at something both subjectively and objectively, but when you're dealing with the safety and well-being of a child, you absolutely cannot fuck around with that.
No, you
can't. I feel really good about her being able to turn to us and say we made her feel comfortable about it, because like I'm so safety oriented on set, and it's like, especially when there's a child involved, I'm like hyper focused, and it can get pretty, it's like everything revolves around her being safe and comfortable. So it makes me feel good to know that I was able to do that. Once again, going outside of the boundaries of what I'm there for, which just as a pawn actor or performer and fabricator, you can't shake that. I think anyone with theater experience kind of has that.
Yeah, you have to, and I've worked with you before, the Vord, and I saw how you treated everyone, and particularly my stepdaughter. You were so incredibly kind to her, and you didn't care what was going on. You just stopped everything, just crouched down next to her on the woods, you know, floor of the woods, and talked to her and make sure she was fine.
Absolutely.
And I remembered that. I don't forget things like that, because, you know, the end of the day, we can all do our art or make our crazy stuff that we make, but we still are people. And
exactly.
Know, and I will not forsake that.
No, I am a huge fan and supporter of that. I absolutely believe that. Like like you said, at the end of the day, we're still human beings. We were just got together and played pretend. Like
that's right.
At the end of the day, these aren't people, or these aren't actors or anything like that. These aren't characters. They're just human beings, and they're people.
We cannot take ourselves too seriously. We can't.
We can take what we do seriously. We just can't take ourselves seriously.
I'm talking about, we can't embody everything so much that we take out our frailties on people and our failings on people, because we all have them.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I love Lilac so much, and I just insist on clipping them and bring them in the house. So for about 2 weeks out of every May, I choke.
Oh yeah.
I love them. They're so good. Lydia.
People like that.
I know.
People like lilacs.
I was like, I feel like me and Jason like thought the same thing at the same time, joke wise, and I was like, I'm gonna go for it.
Hey man, once it's a vibe, it's a vibe. Yep.
That's true. So Lydia, what were your experiences like on set, aside from doing ungodly things and standing in the freezing?
Oh my god, it was absolutely terrible. No, I'm just kidding. No, it was overall, it was really, you know, like probably one of the better like set experiences I've had over the last few years. You know,
that's nice to hear that.
Everybody got along really well, you know, so that helps a lot too, you know, like getting, you know, like I was bugging Jason a lot, just like asking him like set questions, because I always try to like learn more on any set I'm on, not just like from the acting point of view, but from behind the camera too. And I know I had like a lot of insecurities on set, because I just could not remember a line, and it still bugs me to this day. And I
know.
I'll never get over it.
But you know something? I know this is going to sound phony and fake, and I don't even care, because it's the truth. You know I have a very bad filter, so I'm just bound to say anything I think. God help everybody, right, in my peripheral. But I think when that happens, I don't ever make a big deal out of it. And you see, I didn't. Mm-hmm. We just did it a couple of times, and it just didn't come out of your mouth. And I don't know. This is going to sound weird, okay? I get it. But I really don't think you were meant to say whatever it was that was written for you to say. And I don't know why. I have no idea why. But if you have to force it, then it looks forced. And that was not a scene where I think we could have forced anything.
Yeah, because I even had in one of the earlier scenes we did, you know, I was running the lines, and even Scott was just like, you know, he's like, that last line is just like sounding forced. So, you know, like we changed it, and then it was like smooth. So
right. Well, that's why I counted on all of you for that. I mean, Lydia, I specifically asked you, don't do this particular thing. One thing I asked of you, and I can't wait for people to see.
And I did it.
And I was like yap yap or something, and I was.
But aren't you glad that I did it?
I'm horrified.
Well, to be fair, she hasn't seen a rough edit yet, so we don't know.
Yeah, it could be absolutely terrible.
Like, oh my God, what was I thinking?
Be like, oh.
Thank God for the magic of editing.
Well, Mr. Hanson's magic like that, but I will look closely. But I have to tell you, I was like momentarily distracted and looked back to see you doing what you were doing.
Well, I talked to Scott about it, and I was like, I'm just gonna keep going until you
talk to Scott. We love you, Scott Hanson. But you talk to Scott Hanson. If you say I would like to jump off that 3-story building, he'd say, well, make sure the blood go this way, so when you gush blood it, you know.
Exactly. If you're gonna fall, make sure you get it on camera.
So
and that's where the magic happens.
When I was mic'd up for one scene, we got done, and I went up to Chris and I was like, "Oh, did you get that stomach growl?" I was like, "Cause I sure heard it."
Oh God.
He was like, "What?" I was like, "Wait, just wait till you run it back."
Oh my God, do you think he heard it? That'd be so funny.
I would like to hear that.
I was like, my stomach growled, and I was like saying a line, and my stomach growled, and I'm like, "Motherfucker!" I was like,
"Ah." What scene was that? Because I'm going to listen for that.
Me too.
It was the car scene with that I had with Bossy.
Okay.
Oh gosh, well, that's gonna be hard to escape that.
Oh yeah. Although, of course, it had to be like the tightest quarters ever, and my stomach lets out a huge growl, and I was like, I don't like to eat before I do a scene because I don't ever want to feel sick when I'm doing the scene. But I'm like, of course, now everybody's got to know that I was hungry.
But she's also a good cook. She brought us some really cool things to set. So between what I was making and what our caterer lady next door over here was making, and Lydia was bringing, I was happy for that.
Yeah,
especially that big tray of chicken.
Great.
Well, because I'm used to a few of the films I've done, it's been where we all stayed in one Airbnb and we were all there together. So I'm like, I'll cook, I don't mind, I come from a huge family, my mom's one of 10 and I have 45 cousins on my mom's side, so I'm used to cooking big, so I was like, I don't mind.
But it was kind of you, and she cleans.
Yeah, she did. Oh yeah. Let's not forget about that. Absolutely. Lydia busted her ass some days, just cleaning up after actors. Holy shit.
Every day. Nobody asked. She just went into mom mode.
Yep.
And I always just try and help with, because everybody's doing so many different things, and I'm like, I'm not just gonna sit here and do nothing. So I was like, oh.
it was noted and appreciated, and I think that's one of the things that endeared me towards you so much, is that you don't do things grudgingly or make a big noise about them when you're doing them. You just don't do them.
Yeah.
And
that's how it should be.
Well,
it's so much easier doing it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, look at me, I'm cleaning. I'm like, it's gonna take longer for me to do that than just go and do the cleaning.
Well, I don't know about should, but
I still think that towel rack was not broken in that Airbnb.
We will just say that whatever the mystery was surrounding the towel rack, it is now remedied.
There's not a single movie that I've worked on that did not involve an Airbnb that did not have surprise charges at the end of it. It's part of it. It's part of the magic of filmmaking. Yeah, it's always something breaks on an Airbnb, and it's a crazy, weird thing. Hey man, that cast iron toilet seat cover was gold plated, and it's a hand-me-down from my grandmother. It's
yeah,
no one used it.
Yep, I know. You kind of, you know what? It just. I think particularly when you do small productions, you have to Micah, you have to realize that if you don't flow with all of it, you're gonna lose your mind.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so I really only lost my mind once.
Only once? When?
Well, externally once.
When? Tell me.
Well,
because you seem cool the entire time. I want to know when you think you lost.
I think it was the night of mine and Chico's scene.
I think that was the night because I couldn't even pull in. There were so many cars, and we were supposed to have 3 cars or something, and I kept begging people to share. It was really hard. I get it, but I couldn't even pull in. I couldn't get in. And I finally got in, and none of the stuff was moved because we had to use that Airbnb for particularly that one scene with you, Lydia, and a couple of other little things, but nobody had moved anything. And the prop box was turned upside down. Like all this stuff, you know, and I think I was at critical mass. That was my I'm not your mother. And I didn't yell. I didn't yell. I just said,
that was way near the end. You had been like pushed so hard every single day for so long without any real break. Like it was bound to happen.
But I mean, considering I didn't like completely, and then it was done, and then we all moved on. So, you know, other than that,
really good scene.
They were great scenes. I say I brought out the angst and irritation in people. I got their blood pressure going a little bit.
I'm always anxious.
I don't know. I'm just proud of everyone, top to bottom, proud of everyone. I think what we did is kind of a unique thing, and I don't think the story's done. I know some filmmakers can't let go. I've completely let go.
You have to. You have to let
go. You drive yourself and everybody
around. Can I touch on this for just a moment? Because this is probably one of the most important things that I like to share with other filmmakers and other artists in general. And I feel like a lot of people are going to be listening to this podcast who probably want to hear this or need to hear this.
Sure.
Art is about abandonment. And what I mean by that is you have to finish what you're working on, because if it's not done, it's not done. You have to finish it, release it, let it go. And either it's going to thrive or it's going to die, either or. But the fact of the matter is you have to let it go. It's like kicking it out of the nest. So always keep that in mind. If you get to the very end of a project and you're working on it and you're like, oh, I could fix this, or, oh, it needs this. It's like, no, you have to let it go. It's the same thing as raising a child. Let it get to a certain point and then just boot it out of the nest. Like if it never released, it doesn't exist. It's
right, really, exactly.
And so many artists need to learn that, because there's so many, me included, like for my teen years up into maybe my mid to late 20s, I could not release a piece of artwork. I could not finish it because to me it was never perfect. And I had to learn that it can't be perfect. Don't try. Just, it has to be good enough, which is another filmmaking motto. It doesn't have to be good. It just has to be good enough.
Well, you know what? I think that it has to be that you're satisfied that you did everything you could do. And I think once you feel that, you can let part of it go. But I didn't mean continuing this on forever and ever in terms of this. I mean that I think some of the stories aren't finished for another time.
Right. Oh my God, it's so much better to just come back later afterwards if you want to get back into like from anything from writing or painting or a performance or whatnot. Just like, I mean, it's real popular to do redos and revisits and reboots and remakes, and people are getting to the point now they're just kind of remaking the stuff they made years ago, which is great. I think that's a phenomenal, it's a great concept. Just create something and then come back later and redo it. I don't mind the concept, but I mind it particularly for what we've just done, because I think that the everyone, Lydia, you, everyone interpreted and then reinterpreted things that I wrote, and watching them embody their characters brought what I had envisioned to a different place. Right.
That I was so comfortable with and happy with. There is no redo on that. So there are so many spontaneous things that happened and so much thought that went into a lot of these roles. Not on my part, on everyone's part. There's no redo on that. You know, it's like trying to redo some like live performance somewhere. You know, you could
say take two during a concert.
Yeah. So Lydia, what do you hope that? And I've been asking everybody this, but what do you hope that people understand about your role as mother / Katrina?
That I think Katrina did the best she knew how to do. Like, I feel like if you were to ever delve into her backstory, I feel like she wasn't raised the way that she felt she should have, so she didn't know how to raise her daughter. Yeah. And I think that you know, like she did the best that she could, you know, even if it doesn't come across.
Right. Gotcha. And unfortunately, we're running out a little of time, so I just will have to wrap up quick. But so Jason, what do you hope people can see and take away? Anything. Could be about the film or about the people, anything.
Oh, about the film itself, I thought it was a really interesting take. I'm sorry, my wife and I co-work together in an office, and she's about to start an interview.
Okay, so we got to wrap up anyway. So wave.
Yeah, let me wrap this up real quick. So
my husband is doing a podcast right now.
She's telling her person like, "Hey,
I love her. I love her." So what? Because we're gonna like get booted out any second. So
you wanted me to wave and say hi. Come on, let's do that real quick. Sorry, 1 second.
She's gonna come over and say hi. As a matter
oh,
of fact.
good.
Which is great because she just got her hair did today.
Oh, let's see.
Hi, look, I can see her. So, look, there she is.
Hi. We
Look
have
at
to
that
work
hair.
together, Shannon. We have to work together.
I absolutely love that woman right there.
Yeah.
She's like the really great filmmaker. I heard nothing but positive things, and I cannot wait to work with her one day. So
You're just talking to all the wrong people. That's the problem.
I married a great person.
Yes, you did.
You did.
Yes,
He was absolutely great on set.
He was great. He was so great. I know you're proud.
Yeah, that was my set wife.
Oh, hi, set wife. Nice to meet you.
Hi, I heard so many great things about you.
Oh, I've heard the awesome things about you too.
Oh, yay.
Yay.
So we all have to work together soon. Really, for real.
I would love that.
Sure.
I hate
We're
when people
filming
say
again in June, so
we're
I have
gonna-
to get into my meeting, but love you guys.
Nice to
Bye,
meet you.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care, dear.
So real quick, 30 seconds. I feel like what I want everyone to take away from this is it's authentic.
My husband was in a
That's what I want. I want people to have an authentic experience. I want them to think that when they're watching your movie, they're talking to you about something personal about you. Good night, guys. Love you
Good
both.
night, guys. It was good
Bye.
talking to you. Bye.